Hey everyone, welcome to another Four Guys with Quarters Season 2 episode. We are on episode number 6. Today we'll be talking about a couple topics. It'll probably be a rather quick show, but more Gears 5 talk, co-op campaign stuff, Last of Us 2 trailer impressions, Zelda Link's Awakening, Taylor's quick playthrough stuff, Modern Warfare. There's a whole lot going on with that game. We might have time to drop into the topic of Ori actually better on the Switch. So before we get into all that, keep in mind we are a Tick Affiliates podcast. We are proud to be that. Also check out Graphics God for all his Xbox game avatars. He's a really cool dude. Really cool stuff. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce our panel. The guy who's never missed an episode, no matter what chair he sits in, ZPCI Assassin. What's going on?
What's up? The chair says hello too, if you can't hear it.
And I'd also like to welcome Zebra Fries, aka Taylor. What's up?
Hi.
I think Assassin's chair was speaking to you for a moment.
Yeah, a little bit.
Says hi.
Now, before we get into our topics, just real quick, Assassin, is this like an older chair or is this like a newer chair you got?
Well, the chair I had before, I swear was made in like the 1700s. That thing was so uncomfortable and noisy. This chair was my grandma, well, I think it was my grandpa's. So I don't know how old it is. I know it's a lot newer than the chair that was made like during the American Revolution, but probably not much, after that. So, I mean, it's very uncomfortable and loud, as you probably hear.
Yeah. I hope maybe one day we get a gaming chair sponsor because you definitely could use one of those.
At least you'll know when I'm alive, because my chair will make noise.
Well, that's true, but it would also make noise if you just fell over. Would it just be one shot?
I think it would be a lot more noise than just chair noises. You'd probably hear an ow and a bunch of crashy noises.
Well, let's go ahead and get into the topics tonight. We are talking about Gears 5 first, and over the weekend or the last couple of days, Assassin's really been getting some co-op campaign on insane difficulty, not the easiest mode. So Assassin, why don't you tell us about that and what's happening?
Well, first off, Gears 5 is an absolute mess. Inferno hasn't played the campaign yet, so we decided to play it through the hardest difficulty like we normally do. I just told him straight off the bat, I don't know how long I'm going to be on this game. The game's probably going to disconnect me. Infinite loading screen, stuck in areas, lag, frame rate drops, etc., etc. So don't expect us to be on this that long. Well, we got none of that. We got new problems. So after many, many deaths, because you get insta-killed like across the map by Nashers and stuff, one shot by them. Clowns, you were there. I hit load last checkpoint, restarted us right at the beginning of the game. That was fun. Thank God we were only in chapter 1, right at the end. So we didn't have much to do over. There was a part just a little bit later on where we met our first Scion with the buzz saw, whatever, the thing that shoots out blades or whatever. We were on that, I swear, forever. And the moment we got past that, I picked up the buzzsaw and my game glitched. I was pretty much not instantly dead, but the point where the screen was all red and it was like showing that I was dead. My camera was backwards. My character movements were completely weird. Like they weren't even backwards. Like left did not go, right. Like if the camera was backwards. So he had to lead me towards different areas to progress. So it was really kind of hard to see. Sometimes it would even zoom in on the ceiling. So that was even more special trying to get through the match. And sometimes it would zoom on to my hair. So that that was great. And then we get further and further, And right at like the end of like Act Two, or not Act Two, Chapter Two, we get to all these enemies. I'm just spinning in a circle. None of the enemies care about me. Nothing. And we thought Inferno and I hit a checkpoint, whatnot. I would have closed my game out completely and reinvite them. And we got no checkpoints. So we had to start back at the Scion. That took us an hour to get past. That was fun.
Wow, and let me tell you, Taylor, I know that you really haven't, played much Gears, but when I did join them just for a little bit, I was a robot who was basically invisible as long as I didn't interact with anything. And on difficulty, the insane difficulty, they shot me even though I was invisible. I died once or twice, and then there was 2 or 3 times where the guy with the saw blade gun, whatever it's called, assassin, he just shot the floor and he killed Inferno like invisibly through the floor. And then another time he shot assassin right through the barricade, like it just glitched right through and killed him. It was
Yeah,
it was pretty
that
hectic.
that guy, I swear, had like a protractor because he was getting angles like I couldn't even like see. Like he had them just on point. It was terrible. It was a really bad experience. It took us many hours to get through Act One.
What is
Yeah.
with all the games lately coming out where it seems like the glitches are through the roof?
I don't know. Like this year's for games. Like I mean, I played probably a good amount of games, and Gears Five or new games this year. And Gears Five seems to me the most broken. Like Borderlands 3, sure it has its frame rate issues, especially recently when I was playing with clowns, and like I would take that way over than getting stuck in areas where you can't progress. Chat like I was with Yeti when the game first came out. We were in like Act Two. We were almost at the end of Act Two, and we spent like almost an hour through this whole section. Game glitches because we're stuck in like this area where a door closes behind us. We have to wait for the door in front of us to open, so we had to restart the checkpoint. Lost an hour progress. Same thing with Horde. Clowns and I believe, saw enemies fall through the map. Got disconnected after a few hours of Horde mode. Like, the game is just a mess. I know probably the disconnects have been fixed, but all those other things is just so annoying.
Yeah, see, and this is what I don't get with Gears, right? Because this was supposed to be like a major AAA title, and we did get a review copy, and, we love the Gears series in general. I mean, all of us, I think, that play Gears here at Four Guys love the series. But I am very disappointed with some of the bugs in this release, and I do hope they're going to patch them. I know that the content's going to be free, like the DLC stuff. So maybe some patches will come out with that, but hopefully before then. And there was another thing that really that you said got to you too is like when you were glitched. I don't know if you said this, but you and Inferno had a hard time like opening the door because he had to lead you there.
Yeah, like, I was almost like a dog. Like, I had a leash on, and Fern was like, go left. And he's like, no, go, go left. Because, I'm like spinning around in circles trying to, like try to get the perfect camera angle. Like left would go like straight and to the right. Like it was just so bad. We spent like 30 minutes trying to get me to a door. It's uncalled for a game like this. Like I can see maybe an indie game that maybe they don't have much experience, but I mean, come on, Gears 5.
Do you
It's just uncalled for.
do you think that this is happening just because of how big games are today, or how quickly they try to rush them out, or you think it's because this was set as primarily like a Game Pass title?
Well, I don't think because it's a Game Pass title. It could be because it was either rushed and they needed time, or the bug that I got, like with the buzzsaw or whatever. Like, how could they recreate that? Like, I picked it up, got a kill. Oh, my camera's flipped 180 degrees, and my movement is very special. Like that could
Well,
be just something really hard to recreate.
Jay posted a question in the chat: server dependency question mark. So, Assassin, do you have any info on that?
No. I,
Um,
no.
One thing I will say is though that when Assassin did play this before it became, I guess released is the best word to use. Before it was released and he was in the review phase of it, he didn't have these issues. It was once it was
And yep, never
released.
got disconnected, never had frame rate issues, never. And well, when Clowns and I played Horde, I think a few hours before the Ultimate release, we had that enemy go through the map. But other than that, it was so smooth. Like it was just butter smooth. Like it was probably one of the best experiences I've had on Gears ever. And then the game came out, like I don't even want to go back. Like I'll play the campaign, but I do not want to touch Horde. Horde is just absolutely ruined. And I'm not even gonna play MP.
Yeah. So I mean, I think this is something that should be fixed sooner than later. It's definitely could be affecting some people's opinions, reviews of Gears at this point. And we don't need more negative stuff about Xbox and Xbox titles. I mean, really, this gen they should go out with a like a bang that says, "Hey, look, we make great stuff, and Gears is a great series, but this title just I don't know. It doesn't feel like what it's supposed to feel like. I guess I should say."
Yeah, if there wasn't all these issues, like it could have easily been my game of the year or like right, underneath it, It's just all those bugs.
Yeah. Well, there's no good way to transition to this, but let's just go ahead and transition anyway. So the next topic is Last of Us 2, and you guys watched the trailer.
Yep.
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 Taylor, what do you think of it?
Looks so good. It looks so good. I'm so excited
Have,
for it.
have you played the first one?
I played about half of the first one. Again, I don't have a PlayStation, so I'm reliant on other people that have a PlayStation.
Yeah.
I only knew one person that had one.
Well, you gotta get a PS4 and play some of that multiplayer. But more on that later. Oh, okay.
Uh,
There.
Oh,
Assassin, what do you think of it?
I liked what I saw. I thought it was just another Last of Us game, and that's not a bad thing. I am super excited to play it in February, and I mean, it most likely will probably be my game of the year, unless Dying Light 2 takes it away, which is most likely possible. But I am super excited to play that game, and I'm glad that they spent more time on the single player than have attacked on multiplayer. It
Yeah,
will
that's
probably trigger a bunch of people.
you know, I saw the trailer and I really liked some of the stuff in it. I really thought the snow was pretty cool. Riding on, I believe it was a horse. Might have been sleeping a little bit through the trailer because I wasn't playing the game. I am excited for the release. I can't wait for it to come out. I was a fan of the last one. I just, you know what? I just hope they don't do. I hope that they don't, after they release it, then they make another release of this for the next gen. Like, I'm so tired of these re-releases. We need more content, more games, and they just hopefully they keep them coming. And this looks fantastic. I can't wait to get my hands on it. But with that said, the multiplayer thing, Assassin, had everybody on the internet angry.
Yeah, I don't get that. You don't like when the first game came out or when the remaster came out, nothing. You're like, hey, let's play some Last of Us multiplayer. Yeah, that multiplayer. I enjoy that. Let's you don't see those screenshots. You don't see YouTube videos these days. You don't see anything. So if it's so great, like where is all this? Like you still see, like all these other things from all these other games that are old, but Last of Us, nothing.
Yeah, for me personally, I'm not upset about the multiplayer thing because I don't think I even played the multiplayer in the Last of Us in general. And I'm gonna be honest here. I prefer the Xbox platform for most multiplayers. Um, but with that said, I don't really think that we should expect or feel entitled for a dev to do anything, right? Like, I don't think we should demand something to come out from a studio if it wasn't planned, if it wasn't announced. It's not like people put money into this that they can't get back at this point. It's
Yeah, it just seems like people are like, "Oh, Last of Us One had multiplayer, now Last of Us Two needs to have multiplayer. It's less of a game. It's not going to be a less of a game. You're still going to get a great game. You're just not going to get attacked on multiplayer that no one gives a shit about in 2 weeks."
Shizno says that Naughty Dog already said there would be multiplayer. Is that in reference to the fact that it's going to be tacked on?
Well, they said like their wording's weird, right? Like the last paragraph that they put out, they said that like it wouldn't be part of Last of Us 2. But then like I swear I read somewhere it was going to be like what they did Rockstar does with GTA and Red Dead, where it'd be like a month or so, and then it'll just be an update, which I mean it's totally fine, but I mean let's just have like a game. Like I think it needs to have its own game, own different team, not just we don't need attacked on multiplayer that ruins the single player. It won't be ruined, but I'd rather have those resources go into single player.
Yeah,
if you get what I'm saying.
Shizno said in the chat, "Don't worry, The Last of Us 2 multiplayer will be in the PS5 remaster." Would something like that surprise you, Assassin? If they did
Well, I'm
that?
curious on what they're gonna do because, like, with Xbox, they have all this backwards compatibility, and they'll just like the X, they just updated for the X. So, like, are they just gonna do that with the PS4 and Xbox moving forward? They're just you plug in your PS4 disc and it just has a PS5 enhancement update. Because I have a feeling like they should do that moving forward and not make us spend $60 for an update.
Yeah, like I don't think they should charge for it if it does come out tacked on. That would be kind of insulting to all the fans of the series. And if they did do a remaster, if it just popped up in the next generation remaster, that would be insulting too. If you had to spend like another $60 just to get that multiplayer on the next console.
And on top of that, all the microtransactions. I don't know if you saw the Last of Us microtransactions, but there's like a file for each one on the PlayStation Store. And there's way over 100 of them. There's so many microtransactions. I can only imagine what the next multiplayer is going to have.
I may have been one of those people that supported the the
You
transaction.
didn't even play the multiplayer, so why the hell are you spending more money on a mode you don't even touch? Because it is awful, but you don't even play.
I think I did in Uncharted 4 too. I have that problem. I see it and it says buy me, buy me, buy me now. And I'm like, oh boy, gotta buy
You
this.
hearing this, Taylor?
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all how much money he spends in Call of Duty and whatnot.
Hey, Assassin probably spent
Doesn't
more
surprise
than
me at all.
I
don't believe
think
that for a second.
I did buy a BO4 some microtransactions, but I'd never buy microtransactions. Like, ever. I think the last one I bought was probably for Assassin's Creed Black Flag to have black sales. And that was like $1.
Because I did that too.
So, at the end of the day,
Black
that
sales
was
were
worth
cool.
it. Yep. Yeah, they were.
They were worth it.
Well, with that said, I think, we'll have to wait and see for The Last of Us to see what's going to happen, what Naughty Dog's going to do. And I forgot that I don't have a Last of Us 2 picture, or I did, but it just never took to my Stream Deck, so Zelda popped up. So I guess it's trying to tell me that The Last of Us 2, we shouldn't worry about it and just buy the PS5 remaster. So, Taylor, before we move on to Zelda, though, do you have any opinions? Like, what would you think if they just re-released on PS5 with the multiplayer?
I would be extremely annoyed. On that alone, I wouldn't buy it.
Well,
I'm petty like that, so on that alone, I wouldn't buy it.
Yeah, I think we would see a brand new like multiplayer only game way before we saw it be exclusive to the PS5.
Yeah, probably.
Real quick before we do hop into Zelda, there was something that people were talking about on Twitter today that popped up in my feed, and I wanted to address this because I think it's really creepy. The fact that the baby from Death Stranding communicates to you through your PS4 controller, I find that really creepy, and I definitely don't want to play that game now.
See, I find that cool because that speaker on your PS4 controller is useless. Let's be honest. It has no
I don't like that at all.
use. You can talk to like a weird ass baby who can tell you things. I don't know if they'll be interesting, but hey, if it's creepy and stuff, that'd be cool.
I mean, Assassin, what if it sat there and went like goo goo gaga, kept me melted
Okay,
out?
I don't think it's gonna do that. I think like sure
Gonna
like
Be
and
creepy.
and like the creepy scenes that we've seen like in the trailers, like I'm feeling like it'll do something weird, but I don't think it's just gonna like you pick up the controller and it's just gonna start crying.
I don't know. I think it's weird, and I don't know what kind of sounds it's going to make, so I can only imagine in my head it's going to make, like, grunting sounds, and it's going to, like, freak you out at the worst
Let's
moments
just
in
start
the
singing
game.
Lady Gaga and all those other people.
Oh, wow. If it just started singing, like, Lady Gaga, now there's some issues there. If it just started singing Poker Face or something in the middle of nowhere. You're
That'd be like
walking.
a perfect mod though. Just hear a baby in the middle of a fight just start singing Lady Gaga songs.
Wow, now someone that listens to this, if they
I-
ever mod consoles next generation, I would not be surprised now if they took Assassin's advice and someone's
Or
walking through the map and all of a sudden Poker Face just comes on.
or better yet,
Oh,
replace
I'd be okay.
replace the baby model with Thomas the Tank Engine, and then have his song start playing.
Oh my goodness. What were you saying, Taylor?
Oh, I was just saying I'd be okay if Lady Gaga just started playing.
What if it was like Teletubbies music?
No, that's like traumatizing for me. No, I don't like that. I hate that.
Or put the map from Dora in there and just start singing the map song.
Wow. Now I'm,
Especially like if there's a map in game, every time you click on the map, it starts playing that song.
now I'm starting to wonder, what Assassin does in his free time. Now I think like he's like a secret, console modder, and he's like getting ready for next gen, so he could just make this controller talk.
Well, there was a mod in Sekiro that replaced the giant snake with Thomas the Tank Engine and gave him the music, and it's so hilarious.
Yeah, I mean some of these mods in these games are crazy. I know there was a Skyrim mod that was really insane. It put the Dragonborn like on an acid trip, and everywhere he went, like things were like drawn out and bright colored, and it was. I mean, people just do insane stuff for these games,
Yep, yep.
Some of the Skyrim mobs are really weird, man.
and they're still very popular to this day.
Yeah. I think one of the Skyrim mods, I'm pretty sure, like they replaced the dragons with Thomas the Tank Engine,
Yep, I seen
and
that
that's
one
on
too.
Xbox.
Yep.
I wish Activision would follow with custom zombies and multiplayer maps like they did with Black Ops 3 and World at War.
Well, I mean, they don't want people to get free microtransaction. Let's face it.
Well, I mean, you'd probably get banned if you went online with them, but I mean, the creative minds that make some custom zombie maps is just insane.
I'll tell you what, since Daz is moderator of the century, if in the future I learn how to mod some of these things, like in games, I'm going to make a what Daz mod. It just says what repeatedly as he drinks a beer.
Get his voice, and then, like, if it's a first-person shooter, every time you shoot that, it makes, his voice say what or whatever
Yeah,
for gun sounds.
not a bad idea. But in the matter of time, and to keep the chat occupied so they can ask us questions, this one's really a Taylor topic. She has played some Zelda Link's Awakening, and she's about to tell us what that was like.
So I think I'm about halfway through the game right now, doing like some secret stuff that you kind of find throughout the game. Just like random things. I'm having a ton of fun with it. What I kind of like about this too is like they've added like Mario Easter eggs throughout it. Like there's a chain chomp in the game. There's just random Mario enemies sprinkled through the dungeons and whatnot. The like updated graphics for it and the updated controls are really nice. The game is just a ton of fun to play, and it's still like kind of challenging. Nice. It's not like super easy or anything. The dungeons are still a ton of fun. I've gotten to play with the dungeon making thing a little bit, where you can like kind of craft your own dungeons, and so the way that kind of works, it gives you like a starting point for a dungeon, it gives you the end point, and then like an extra room, or like an extra room or two, and you have to connect all of those rooms, and they give you like different types of rooms that you can use to connect them. Add like a bunch of extra rooms if you want, or you can add just like rooms needed to connect those rooms and just go through those, and you just play through your own dungeons if you want to. It's so much fun. That whole little thing, it's just a lot of fun. I highly recommend getting the game if you're a Zelda fan. Just why not? Why not play through it? Honestly.
Yeah, it does look really good. Did you play the original?
No, I didn't.
Some people complained that there was some frame rate issues. It dipped in certain areas. Have you noticed any frame issues?
No, not at all.
Daz, I think that's Taylor, because I think she has to move closer to her mic, if you're asking whose mic that was. So, I mean, that's good that you haven't noticed any frame issues, because that's one big complaint that's going around for some people. So I wonder if it's just their Switch versions, or if there's already been any revisions on the carts or anything like that. But I'm looking forward to getting into this game. How would you say, like, the animation is when you're killing enemies or you're chopping things down?
It's sick. I don't know how to describe the animation. How to describe the animation for it? A weird question for me to answer.
Would you say that it was, like, smooth, choppy?
For some of the enemies, it seemed more smooth. Like, some of the enemies that are kind of like more Mario based, it seems a little more choppy and weird. That makes sense. Like they have, like those like water spiders from Mario.
Yep.
Like those are in the game, and it like their death sequences sometimes like look kind of weird. There was a ton of them in like the last dungeon that I just played. Like sometimes like their death animation looked kind of weird.
Okay.
For the most part, the animations look smooth and fine.
Well, that's a fair assessment. I think that once I actually get some time, I'm going to play through it myself. I like the original. I don't remember much of the original because it was so long ago that I played it. So it's going to be like a new game for me all over again. And I'll probably have to look up guides on the internet on what to do because I'm probably going to get confused. Like, do I pick up this rock? Do I move this rock? I'm going to get lost on things like that. And then I'll like go down 3 screens and 5 up, and I'm like, oh, where was I supposed to go again?
Yeah, I've had to do that a couple times. I'm not gonna lie.
See,
it's confusing. I'm gonna be honest. Where it's like, go here, and you're like, I have no idea how to get here, and then it's like, oh, you have to do these 13 things before you can actually go here, and it's like, okay, thanks.
See, and that's why I wish Assassin would join in on games like this with us, Taylor. Like, he would play these games, because then we could just ask him all the questions, because he remembers this stuff, and we're like, Assassin, you remember on this screen with the 3 pots, we go up or down? And he'll be like, oh, you go up. You know, like, he'd just have the answers for us.
Yeah, well, send me the game clowns and I'll play it.
Hashtag send Assassin the game.
Hashtag Moochin.
Nice. Well, if we do get an extra copy of Assassin, I will be sure to get you one. I will actually try to get you one. Let's see what happens. Yeah, Creeper, I don't know. How did we ever play games back in the day without guides? You know, I'm kind of clueless. I remember I used to go on AOL just for Mortal Kombat moves. And that was like slow dial-up. Like the moves would come down on the screen very slowly and print out very slowly. And I'd take it to the arcade and I'd be so happy. Assassin, did you ever use guides back in the day when you were playing games?
I've had some. I think the last one I bought was for Star Wars The Force Unleashed for the Wii. Never used it. I don't use guides. I'll usually, not like paper guides. Like, I'll occasionally, if I need, a collectible guide and stuff like that, or if there's just one thing I cannot find after I beat the game or something, I'll look it up. But as for, those guides, we've had in the past, I don't buy them. I don't look at them.
Taylor, did you ever use the paper guides?
Don't think. I'm probably too young for my parents to eat. Yeah, sure, we'll get this for you. We just kind of sat there and figured it out.
Creeper and Indy, when I was younger, I had the Nintendo, Nintendo Power magazine, and then I had Game Pro, and I would look through those things sometimes for little hints on different sections, and then occasionally I would go out and get certain guides for certain games. I think I had a guide for Earthbound when it came out. I think I got a deal at Funko Land with the game and a guide or something when I bought it. And then also, you guys might remember the old 900 numbers for Nintendo. And occasionally, when my parents were asleep, I used to call those numbers. Not just for the tips, but sometimes because I just wanted to sit there and talk to all those guys that worked at Nintendo. And I'd ask them lots of questions. And then they'd be like, oh, I'm just a QA tester. Or, I don't really talk to the devs. I'd sit there and try to get information from them. And my mom and dad paid for that on the $900 and the 900 number.
Remember those little booklets or whatever that had all the cheat codes? I used to have a lot of those.
Game Genie?
I don't know what they're called, but they were just a bunch of pages with cheat codes for a bunch of games.
Yep, there was Game Genie, there was Game Shark, there was Action Replay. I think there was 2 more, and I think in the UK they had a different version as well, but of Game Shark, I believe it was.
Yeah, I think I still have them. If I can find them, I'll look.
People go crazy for those codes, right? The original books actually sell in retro stores. People buy them.
Wow.
No, Daz, I can say that I never tried that number. You might want to ask everyone else.
I'm afraid I actually know what that number goes to. Mine's from Daz.
Well, speaking of being charged for premium services, there is a game that is coming out that's going to be full of premium services if all the rumors are true. So, Assassin, you want to explain to us what all this is about on Modern Warfare?
Oh, God. So, what was it? The state of play, I think it was last Tuesday, or it was Wednesday, I forget. It was so long ago. They showed a Modern Warfare campaign trailer, which looked really good, even though it was mostly cutscenes. Like, I was excited just to play the campaign. I was excited before to play the campaign, but now more excited to play the campaign. And of course, right at the end, yeah, I was just waiting for that only on PlayStation thing, and then they showed Spec Ops. I'm like, cool, they have survival mode. I used to play that a lot in MW3. I know my friend Joe, he wants me to go back on there, but I really do not want to go back on MW3, to be honest, unless it's to play the campaign or Spec Ops. Except not survival, of course. Um, and I didn't read the fine print or anything. And then all these videos are out, and right at the bottom is only on PlayStation 4 up to October 1st, 2020, and everyone is just so pissed off. Like it is so disgusting that they had a portion of a mode. It's not the whole Spec Ops mode. It's just the survival mode that is tied to a PS4 for a whole year, not a week like it was like for Black Ops 4, not a month like it was for other Call of Duties. A whole fucking year like Destiny. It is such a kick in the nuts for anyone who has to buy the game on other platforms, and they get less content for the same price.
I gotta say this. I know that it's all about backroom deals and money for these corporations, and maybe Sony really needs to spend some of their marketing money to get money in return for this Modern Warfare. But I just think this lockdown mode survival is terrible for a year. I could see 3 months, I could see like 30 days, 45 days, 3 months. And I don't want to hear people say, oh, well, Xbox did it last generation. We're in a whole new generation now. Xbox has changed. They're not like that anymore.
Yeah, and it was only 30 days. It wasn't a whole 365 days. Big
Yeah,
difference.
it's a huge difference. And it's not like a whole separate mode. It was just DLC maps. So you could still play the game with your friends on maps. And it wasn't cross-play back then either. But now the game is cross-play. And survival mode is locked to PS4. And Xbox friends can't play with their PS4 friends unless they have a PS4. Luckily, Assassin and I both have a PS4. But still, that's not the point. It's the point that it's just wrong. It's bad business practice. It's anti-consumer, and doing this eye for an eye thing is real petty. It's just gonna really destroy the credibility of the series and just show how greedy Activision is. I know that there was a dev that came out that defended Modern Warfare, but I gotta say this: I don't think all the devs that worked on Modern Warfare feel the same way. I think,
Well,
marketing wise and company wise, the execs are probably feeling that way, but I don't think all the devs that worked on it feel like it should be locked.
Well, I mean, we don't know what Sony's contract is with Activision, but from what it sounds like they wanted, like how it was in Black Ops 4, where everything that released was on PS4 for the first 7 days, and then Xbox and PC then got it. Well, that's not happening anymore with Modern Warfare. It's everything's launching except Spec Ops on the same day for everyone, forever. So, I mean, if that's the price we have to pay, like I guess as much as bad as it sounds, like I'd rather have Spec Ops be a whole year than content that comes out new be delayed some days on Xbox and PC because the hype just goes away.
Yeah, I see your point. 'Cause I know you're a big fan of the series. I'm just disappointed because there are times that where we sit there and we play games and we play survival mode or horde mode or something, and it's a lot of fun to play those modes with your friends. I just think that this is just terrible business practices, and
Well, yeah, of course it's terrible practice, but I mean, if we had to have a week of new content be delayed and have the hype be dead for Xbox and PC players, or have the survival mode be gone, like as much as survival is fun and all, I'd rather have new content be across everywhere, so then PS4 doesn't get all these cool things, and we all have to wait.
yeah, others think I'm with you there, man. Like if I was the one that was buying Modern Warfare, I would probably not want to buy it right now. So I feel your pain. But I know in Assassin's situation, he's a huge fan of the series in general. So for him, that's probably not even an option to think about.
Yeah, I mean, I could still get on PS4, but their controller is for like, yeah. I say this a lot, but if you've seen those Burger King commercials where the guy has like little hands and he has like the Whopper Junior and he can't hold the normal Whopper, that's the PS4 controller. I cannot play with that thing.
Wow.
I mean, it's true though. Like the controller is so small that like it hurts your hands. At least my hands a lot.
Taylor, what do you think about it being locked for a year? Like, if that was to ever happen to any games you liked, how would you feel?
What do you mean by locked? I don't understand.
So, okay, so the survival mode, right? It'll be on PS4. Xbox and PC players cannot play it at all until whenever they say. So, it says in small print till October 1st, 2020. So, pretty much when next year's Call of Duty is out, Xbox and PC players can finally play survival mode.
So does so Sony has a deal with Activision then?
Yeah, Sony and Activision have like a contract. I don't know when it goes away, but they have a contract.
I hate that, but at the same time, I understand that Sony is doing that to get more players onto their platform.
Yeah, and I get that, but it's just like
Yeah.
the survival mode, you know, like
It's
and
annoying.
in other games they've had better deals with exclusive content. But in the past, like for Red Dead, for instance, they get some content like I think a few weeks ahead of us on Xbox, but like a whole mode.
Yeah,
That's
to lock down a whole mode for a year, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of it, and on the flip side of this thing, I know that you guys said this would bring more players over to PS4, but I feel like, to be honest with you, I feel like that this generation in general, the PS4 has outsold the Xbox. So I don't really feel like that PlayStation needs to do slick and sly back alley marketing to get people over there. They have plenty of people. I just think that they're being petty and greedy, and it's kind of like either an eye for an eye situation, or execs of Sony are like, haha, look what we're gonna do this generation. I think it's ridiculous. They have so many people on their platform, they don't need to do this, and it ruins crossplay for me with my friends on PS4.
well, let's be honest. No one's going to buy a PS4 because of survival mode. I mean, let's be honest. If it was multiplayer campaign or Spec Ops missions, then I mean that's a totally different story. But survival mode, like, yeah, it sucks. But no one's like, oh, I need a PS4 now. You know,
Um,
um, indie game.
Indies.
Yeah, indie gamer says, "What is survival mode?" Think of like just any multiplayer map they put in the game, and then they have hordes of enemies coming at you. You can, in Modern Warfare 3, you can buy like kill streaks. Like there's a whole money system. Buy weapon attachments, weapons. It gets harder and harder as waves go by. It's like zombies in a little bit, but it's not zombies.
Didn't Modern Warfare 3 have like a survival mode?
Yeah, that was the first game that introduced it, and I think that was the last game that had it.
And that was a
No.
lot of fun on Modern Warfare 3. I used to play that with my friends.
Yeah, it got really annoying when all the juggernauts came in, and there was like six of them on your ass the whole time. But I mean, it was fun. I mean, I think we should probably get like a group together and just play it sometime. I think that would be interesting. It's not really that much fun with just one other person, but if we get like a group, it could be pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Well, the other side of this Call of Duty situation is that there are rumors that there's going to be that one guy on Twitter. I can't remember his name. Assassin, you quoted the tweet, but he said like 500 microtransactions for cosmetics, calling cards, and skins and camos on launch or something. Right? Wasn't that what the tweet was about?
Yeah, that's what he said. But then one of the main guys at MW said stop believing in people that believe in boogeymen or something. Like I forget the wording he said, but he pretty much said it wasn't true. Which, to be honest, 500 calling cards, like 300 sprays, that's a lot of weird stuff at launch. Like I could see over a year, but at launch, like I'd rather have them put time into like more campaign missions or spec ops missions or guns than make a rectangle with some pretty pictures on it.
Yeah, the only thing I think of though when I think about stuff like this is that Activision and COD are very good at making these really cool animated calling cards lately. And it wouldn't surprise me though, Assassin, if they make some of these really hard to get and they're microtransaction focused. Like you need a
Well, they'll
set.
just be in like loot boxes, and if they have a stupid paywalled store, then they'll be in there. But I mean, they won't be like. I mean, there'll be ones for challenges. You'll probably get like 20 nukes or something. You get an animated calling card or emblem or something like Modern Warfare 2 had. Like there'll be those, but like the ones he's probably talking about are just going to be filler for, loot boxes.
Taylor, are you going to be getting Call of Duty?
Know the answer to that by now.
Big fat yes.
Aren't you excited about the microtransactions, the possibilities?
You're the only one here who's excited for microtransactions.
You are absolutely 100% correct on that. The only person here excited about microtransactions is Clouds.
No, I think Yeti is more excited than me.
Yeti pays way more than Clowns, but Clowns is like his little brother's
Yeti
like, give me money for microtransactions, and Clowns buys them.
Yeah, for
Yeti
everybody,
starts buying them.
for everybody in the chat, Yeti's a good friend of the show, and we got to try to get him on the podcast one day. But when it comes to microtransactions, he really loves microtransactions, and I think last COD he went like over $460 worth in head deep into microtransactions, and that's just on the last COD game. That doesn't count the prior COD games and future.
There's gonna be another episode where I just have to yell at someone about microtransactions.
Probably.
They do it. I do it all the time. When I used to play a lot of Live 4, and he's like, "Oh, I'm buying this." I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me? You're supporting paywalled microtransactions on a $60 game with a $50 season pass?"
Yeah,
you're gonna get a second snippet on the Twitter of me yelling at you guys about microtransactions.
Oh, they're just like Infinity Ward had.
Stop doing it.
Infinity Ward had some good, not good microtransactions, but they were fair for everyone. They were easy to get. Same thing with World War II. Treyarch has the worst, and if rumors are correct, and I hope not. But Infinity Ward or Activision probably forcing Infinity Ward, but they're not going to be good. They're going to be worse than BO4, which BO4 was terrible.
I think in World War II, I think he admitted he spent over like 200 something in World War II, and then
he spent 460. That's how he got his name, 460.
Oh, in World War II, how much did he spend in Black Ops 4?
I want to say he probably spent about the same. Maybe more. Because microtransactions in BO4 were like $20 each. Like they weren't even microtransactions. They were like a third of the game. And he would just buy them all. He probably almost bought all of them. And I think someone did the math. It was like $4,000, $5,000 just for the full game with all the microtransactions.
And for you guys in the chat, I mean, we really got to get him on the show because this is a really cool dude. And it'd be really funny to have Taylor grill him on these microtransactions. But just to give you an idea, we've played Sea of Thieves with him, Siberia and I, as well as Assassin. And Siberia knows him. And in Sea of Thieves, when the new content came out, he was just like, "Oh, I'll buy it. I'll buy it."
Oh.
Yeah, he bought the ship set, which I'm surprised he didn't buy the like the legendary version where Banjo-Kazooie's like all gold and stuff. Surprised he didn't buy that, but I think he bought like at least one of every pets. He bought the ship set, which is like $40 just by itself. The pets are like $5 each. he could have bought Sea of Thieves like 8 times over probably by then.
I
God.
think somebody in the chat asked how old he is. I think he just turned 21, right, Assassin?
Yeah, he just turned 21.
Yeah, so he's looking forward to casinos as well.
No, I think he's
No.
been. I think he's been to
No.
some casinos. If I
Yeah,
remember right.
he's been to the ones where he was allowed in that didn't have alcohol in certain rooms or something, I think. But yeah.
No.
You use real money in Sea of Thieves. Yeah, they just added it. What, 2 weeks ago now? There's ways to get it in game, but it's like very rare, which I guess is a coincidence because the people who made the game is rare. But um, I it's going to be very difficult to earn these things. But they're cool though. They're pets. Like, who doesn't want a monkey or a parrot on your side? Like, I mean, I bought one just because I want a bird right next to me that, just does bird things.
See, here's the thing I think about this, right? And I'm sure Taylor's going to agree with me on this part, which I'm going to be ashamed to admit. But once these servers go down, like, what's the point of owning all these microtransactions in
Well,
game
that's the
when you
same
can't
thing
play them?
you could say for multiplayer only games like Destiny or World of Warcraft or whatever. Like, once the servers are gone, like, goodbye.
Yeah, I mean, though, like, imagine if Modern Warfare 2 or Modern Warfare 3 had all these microtransactions and people were spending money back then, and then all of a sudden, like, nobody's on those servers today. Or if they are, it's usually, like, modded lobbies, which nobody wants to go into because, it's kind of creepy going into those things. But, yeah,
Well, you
so...
can even say that for Call of Duty now. Like, yeah, he spent $460 in World War II. He probably never go back to the game. Like, sure, his stuff's still there, but I mean, he spent all the money for something he'll probably never play again.
I mean, that is true, because I do remember that once he got that was that one gun that he really wanted, and once he got it, he was like, "Oh, I'm done with the game."
Yeah, we stopped playing it. I think we went back once, I think a month or two ago, because his brother was talking shit, and we destroyed him. So then he never went back.
Wow. So I was reading the chat, and Jeeper said somebody recently spent $62,000 on RuneScape. I gotta find that, because if we can get that guy in the podcast, Taylor could have a few words for him.
I'll just have a heart attack on the spot.
We'll just get like a Netflix series of roasting people who buy microtransactions.
Yeah, yeah. Like, where were they 10 years ago, and where are they now?
Yeah.
But
Start crying.
before we have to end the show, there's another topic I want to get into. It's really quick, and I don't have a screen for it, but I sent you guys the article, and it's about the Ori and the Blind Forest being better on Switch than Xbox. So what do you guys think?
Was it? Did you say did better or performed better? I swear I heard something totally different.
Performs better.
I mean, I feel like that game is more of a Switch game, not an Xbox game. Like even before I got a Switch, like there's so many games like I wouldn't even play on the Xbox, but I'm more interested in playing on the Switch, and that's definitely one of them. And I have Game Pass, and I think it's part of it, and I won't even play it.
It does feel more like a Switch game to me, anyway. But I read through the article, and the game dev was saying that for the re-release of it for Switch, they had more time to kind of go through and optimize the game again. So that's why they were kind of able to make it.
Yeah, there's a plane going over.
Wow, it says
We're being invaded. Duck and cover.
Surprise! Your tornado alarms didn't go off.
Right?
Jesus.
If you hear a loud bang, that's it's a nuke going off. I'm sorry.
But the game dev was saying that they had more time to kind of go through and optimize the game a little bit more. So they were able to kind of get the game running at about 60 frames per second than the 30 frames that they had it running on Xbox, especially since they were kind of already working with a finished product at that point. So it was just kind of interesting that they were able to have the finished product and then kind of go through and remaster it a little bit more before they re-release.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I got from it, too. You know what? I don't think it's as big a deal as people are making it out to be. If there was no news articles about this, to be honest with you, there's probably maybe like 2 people that would have ever really counted the pixels to notice the difference in frame rates. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I mean, it's cool that they were able to improve it, and it doesn't matter what platform it was improved on, right? I mean, like this Ori and the Blind Forest is a Microsoft published title, so it's good for Microsoft regardless. And people shouldn't be going insane about it and be like, "Oh my God, it's on the Switch! It's doing so much better than Xbox! Oh, we need to move to Switch now." No, it's not like the end of the world apocalypse just because it's going 60 frames per second with some character animations. I mean, get a hold of yourselves. It's cool that it's working great on the Switch, and nobody should be offended by that. Sass, you have any comments?
I mean, not really. I mean, I'm just glad that more people get to play a game. I don't know, and they'll enjoy it.
You don't want to be a gatekeeper and tell them they can't play it on another platform?
No, I mean, go play wherever you want to. Like, I wish every game was on every platform. I'd love to play Last of Us on my Xbox or Uncharted or some Mario Kart on my Xbox or I just wish all games were multi-platform, but they're not.
Shizno actually kind of has an interesting point, though. I like his take on this. He says it would be nice if they updated the Xbox version to 60 frames per second. And from the articles that I read, it pretty much just says the animations have been updated to 60 frames per second. I guess that would look a little bit smoother for Xbox. I mean, I could see that. If you have it on Xbox, Shizno, that makes sense. You'd want to be able to play it like that. But there's some really hardcore fans that are just getting really angry over this, and I don't think they should be so angry. Disappointed? Okay, that's fair. But angry to the point where you're telling these guys off? No, that's not cool.
Let's be honest, though, they probably won't go back to fix the Xbox version unless some game breaking shows up. They're already working on their next game that's coming up sometime in the near future.
And hopefully with the next games coming out by them, they'll have it at 60 frames per second. They'll learn from their ways of improving this on Switch, and maybe have the sprites better perform and move at 60 frames per second. So I mean, that's my take on it. Taylor, what do you think?
Like spaced out for a second. I was reading comments.
That's okay.
Yeah, I do think it's a little weird that they didn't update it for Xbox to go to 60 frames. But I mean, there's probably some reason that they didn't do that.
Well, they probably didn't want to waste the time and money. I mean, they probably had a small dev team for the Switch port, or they even outsourced it to someone else while those people are making the next one.
Yeah. There's probably a good reason that they just didn't do it, and it's a lot of extra time and money or something, and they just didn't want to waste the effort on that when it runs perfectly fine and it looks fine. There's no reason to just waste the effort on it when they're making the next one. It doesn't matter, essentially. Who cares? Get over it. Just play the game. It's fine.
Yep.
Everyone just needs to relax.
Indeed.
Yep. Well, speaking of relaxing, it's almost that time to relax as we're almost at the hour mark. So I might as well go ahead and... What's that?
I said, oh my god, we made it an hour?
Yeah, we did. According to my timer, 58 minutes and 49 seconds. So without further ado, I'd like to go ahead and do the outros, because I think I forgot to do them last show, because I think I was falling asleep at some point thanks to narcolepsy. But anyways, so Assassin, where can people find you, and what have you been up to?
Well, you can find me on pretty much every platform except PC. Just search my name. It's pretty much the same for everywhere. Same thing with Twitter. I've been slowly getting back into streaming. A bunch of stuff happened recently, and I'm finally getting not over it, but it's been rough. So I'm trying to find something to do. And yeah, find me on Twitch.
What is your Twitch channel?
Just twitch.tv/ZPCI_assassin.
Nice. So I hope everybody in the chat gives Assassin a follow. He does really good streams. He's really good at playing games. And he doesn't have like memory problems like me where I'm backtracking 10,000 times because I'm half asleep and I forget where I'm going. No, he remembers everywhere he's going, so it's pretty smooth gameplay. And Taylor, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Xbox, both Zebra Fries. Keep it simple. Yeah, that's it. 'Cause I don't do the other thing anymore.
Oh no.
Yeah, I don't have time for it.
Yeah, I can see that. I know what that's like. Well, without further ado, I said that twice already. You can find me on the Four Guys with Quarters channel every Monday, usually at 5 p.m., but we might go bi-weekly or monthly, depending on how many topics pop up. Because lately, it's not really been a lot of topics to talk about, and other shows have covered pretty much everything that you could be angry over, and we just like to kind of keep it more positive. And then occasionally I'll stream on Mixer. I believe it's Italian clown, or it's clowns over there. CLOWNZ. Forgot my own name on Mixer. It's been a while. And yeah, so hope to see you guys next Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern. And we're out of here.
Bye.
Adios.